Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight on our news. The Prime Minister has set a date for the opening of Baha Mar.
Organizers of We March Bahamas make more demands of the government. That story straight ahead.
Police need your help as they investigate the shooting death of a man Thursday night. Why a former state minister says the Bahamas is in an energy crisis, and why the head of the Christian Council says the country is seeing low voter registration. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina McNeil. Topping news tonight, the Prime Minister has set a date for the opening of Baha Mar. He says the multi-million-dollar resort will begin a phased opening in April 2017 with hiring beginning early in the new year. The resort is expected to be completely open in December 2017. Dana Smith reports.
The Baha Mar Resort should be entirely up and running by this time next year, according to the Prime Minister, who gave an update on the stalled Baha Mar Resort while addressing members of the Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association at their annual Christmas luncheon. He told the crowd Chow Tai Fook Enterprises, the Hong Kong-based company which acquired Baha Mar properties, is responsible.
They are arranging for operation by the Grand Hyatt of the casino and convention hotels and of the other properties by SLS and Rosewood, all internationally renowned brands, beginning with the phase opening in the second quarter of 2017.
Christie said these operations will almost immediately begin to have a positive economic impact, starting with the hiring of 1,500 employees early in the new year. By April 2017, more than 3,000 employees will have been brought on, and by December 2017, Christie said that total will swell to more than 4,000.
My government has been working to ensure that there will be continuous employment opportunities in the tourism sector for our young people over the ensuing years, starting with the imminent hiring of 1,500 employees at Baha Mar early in the new year. This is to facilitate the phased opening of 1,800 rooms at the Conference and Casino Hotel, the Casino Convention Center and Golf Course, and employment of up to 3,300 by August of 2017 and 4,300 by December 2017, when all components have been completed and opened.
But that's not all Chow Tai Fook is planning to do. Christie said the company will also undertake other plans, including the development of Baha Mar's offshore island and the demolition and reconstruction of the Crystal Palace Hotel.
The company by the name of CTF is planning to invest hundreds of additional millions of dollars in pre-opening festivities, the development of family amenities, entertainment, and offshore island facilities, and under consideration the demolition and redevelopment of the former Crystal Palace Hotel.
Christie said when all this is finished, the development would have created thousands of direct and indirect jobs.
With these additional investments completed, the project will have created 5,700 new direct jobs, an additional 4,160 indirect and induced jobs.
Christie said Baha Mar's general contractor currently has more than 500 workers on site with oversight of standards and the construction timetable for completion. This, he said, will ensure on-time completion of those properties that are slated to open in April 2017 and by December 2017. Reporting for Our News, I'm Dana Smith.
Thanks, Dana. Well, lead organizer of last Friday's massive We March Bahamas protest, Renard Henfield, is denying there will be a national strike next week, although he says he is prepared to initiate a national strike if the group's concerns are not addressed. This latest development comes after a second letter was issued to Prime Minister Perry Christie on Thursday, asking Christie to update the Bahamian people on how their concerns are being addressed. Our Jasmine Brown has the story in this report.
This latest letter outlines nearly 40 concerns that organizers say need to be addressed urgently. Those demands are enclosed in a letter which Henfield issued to the press yesterday, nearly 1 week after he rallied public support across political lines to stage a march and occupy downtown. Henfield started the 4-page document by insisting he respected the Prime Minister, but says he believes Christie is obligated to address their demands. Those demands included publicly directing a moratorium on all government dealings, negotiations and proposals with China and any other foreign interests, announcing a date for the 2017 general election, circulating the draft Freedom of Information Act, disclosing the Bahamas Power and Light business plan as well as all BAMSI contracts, and giving the Bahamian people an exact accounting of every single penny collected for value-added tax. Henfield also set a timeline for action in an email that accompanied that letter. He wrote, "We are prepared to initiate a national strike in 1 week should the Prime Minister not publicly address the nation on what he has done since Black Friday to advance these issues that affect the people of the Bahamas." But in a Facebook post that has since been deleted, he attempted to clarify that statement, saying there will not be a national strike next week. Meantime, Henfield also maintained in the letter that he is disinterested in meeting with the Prime Minister, despite an invitation sent out by the Prime Minister on the eve of last Friday's march, a point he made clear to our news team this week.
Now we want these amendments to the various acts. We want a Freedom of Information Act tabled and passed, and we want these things done in a certain time frame. What I'm doing and encouraging Bahamians to do is fight for our country. So we are on two different sides, no matter what shade of black they wear. We represent two different movements. They represent retaining power and retaining the status quo, and we represent a new Bahamas for all Bahamians.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Thanks, Jasmine. Well, in other news, a man is dead after a shooting at Toot Shop Corner last night. Chief Superintendent Ken Strawn says shortly after 9 p.m., police received reports of a shooting in that area. Police say 2 men in a dark-colored vehicle armed with handguns approached and shot the man before speeding off.
Responding officers found a male lying on the southern side of Toot Shop Corner with multiple injuries about the body. A team from the EMS department responded. Having conducted the check, determined that the individual was lifeless.
Police are still in the early stages of their investigation. They are appealing to anyone who may have information on this or any other incident to contact them at 911, 919, or Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS. Well, former Minister of State for the Environment, Fenton Nemore, says with blackouts continuing to plague New Providence, it's clear that the country is in the midst of an energy crisis.
So this is indeed a crisis situation, and when the government changes next year, trust me, there will be some very difficult pills that we must swallow in order to turn BPL around, and it's not going to be done overnight. It's going to take a minimum of at least 2 years to turn BPL around.
Nemore says much of the blame should be placed on the government, Deputy Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis in particular, and not on the management company Power Secure, as he says they inherited most of the issues.
Well, the issue is that Power Secure cannot solve all the problems at BPL. It was a major mistake. I've said it from day one that it was a band-aid measure. They need money. That's the bottom line.
Nemore's comments come days after BPL suffered another major meltdown that left thousands of New Providence residents without power for hours on Wednesday. Yesterday, Bahamas Electrical Workers Union President Paul Maynard confirmed that a major underground cable fault was to blame for the blackout. While Nemore admits there are maintenance concerns, he says he feels there are deeper issues that can be traced back to times when the power company was not privately managed.
The equipment is now falling apart, but it is so bad now that they cannot take generators out of operation to maintain them. They are just trying to keep the electricity on every day. So the government must act, and must act now. They don't have time.
Still to come on our news, the Bahamas Christian Council pushes Bahamians to register to vote. Representatives from more than 100 countries will soon be in the capital to discuss aviation and how wearing a red nose for a day can help to make a difference. That's coming up when our news returns.